Picture this, a guy with zero full-time stock car racing experience, no late models, no ARCA background, nothing on the traditional NASCAR ladder. He shows up for a NASCAR Truck Series race. Millions of subscribers are watching. Then he crashes on lap 6, and instead of NASCAR pumping the brakes, they give him another shot. Now, one of the most respected voices in the garage is speaking out, and what he has to say isn't just about one YouTuber. It's about the future of NASCAR itself. But here's the thing. This debate goes way deeper than Cleetus McFarland. And by the end of this story, you might see the entire situation differently. Real quick, if you're a true NASCAR fan like me, drop a like and subscribe. NASCAR Nation news is just getting started, and we're pushing toward our next subscriber milestone. If you love honest NASCAR conversations from fans who live and breathe this sport every week, you're in the right place. Now let's get into it. So here's where things start getting interesting. Tommy Baldwin, crew chief, veteran, a guy who's seen just about everything NASCAR has to offer. He recently sat down on the Door Bumper Clear podcast alongside Cleetus McFarland himself. Now, if you followed this story, you know Baldwin wasn't exactly supportive from the beginning. Back in March, he said it straight. He can still bring those followers. But why don't you bring those followers 8 months later when you're a little more invested? At the time, that comment made waves. But remember, that was before Daytona, before the wreck, before Nashville, before everything that followed. And that's where the story takes a turn, because now Baldwin isn't really targeting Cleetus anymore. He's targeting the system. And honestly, that's a completely different conversation. Here is the thing. Cleetus McFarland is a pretty likable guy. His fans love him. And to his credit, he handles criticism better than most people ever could. After all, he built his career on YouTube, a place where the comment section can be absolutely brutal. In fact, Cleetus even joked that NASCAR media criticism is nothing compared to what he's dealt with online for years. Fair enough. But Baldwin's concern isn't about whether Cleetus can handle criticism. It's about what happens when someone else tries to follow the same path. And this is where things get serious. Baldwin said, young kids with negativity, it ruins their life. Then he added something even more important. We have a perfect example of how the system is broke. Not Cleetus is broke, the system is broke. Think about that for a second. That's not a personal attack, that's a warning. Because if NASCAR approves a YouTuber to skip late models, skip ARCA, and jump directly into the Truck Series, what happens when the next person tries it? The person without 3 million subscribers, the person without a massive fan base defending them online. What happens to that driver? That driver gets crushed. They get roasted on social media. They get torn apart in the comments. And unlike Cleetus, they may not recover from it. At first, nobody saw it coming. But Baldwin's argument suddenly becomes a lot harder to ignore, especially when he brought up one of the best examples possible, Casey Kahn. Before Kahn ever raced at Daytona, he completed 14 tests. 14, including a full race simulation at Rockingham. That was the process. That was the standard. That was the respect expected before earning your opportunity. However, there was one problem. Once NASCAR approved Cleetus, the conversation changed forever. And that's where Freddie Kraft stepped in. On the same podcast, Kraft raised a question that nobody seems to have a good answer for. Where do you draw the line now? Think about it. NASCAR just approved someone with no developmental series experience. That driver wrecked on lap 6, and yet he's getting another opportunity. So when the next person comes knocking, how do you tell them no? What happened next surprised a lot of people, because the answer is simple. You can't, at least not without looking inconsistent, not without looking hypocritical. And that's a massive issue for a sport built around a developmental ladder that's taken decades to establish. Then something unexpected happened. The conversation shifted from fairness to precedent, because Richard Childress knew exactly what he was doing when he brought Cleetus into the fold. The subscribers, the merchandise, the attention, the exposure. Let's be honest, there's real business value there. For the team, it makes sense. But for NASCAR, the sanctioning body now has a precedent that's going to be very difficult to reverse. And this is where things get even more interesting, because Cleetus McFarland is actually getting better, a lot better. After a rough Truck Series debut at Daytona, he nearly won the ARCA race at Talladega. He finished second. That's not a fluke, and it's definitely not nothing. Even more fascinating is how he's approaching the learning process. Most drivers move up through the ranks. Cleetus is doing the opposite. He's running faster, more difficult vehicles first, then dropping back down. As a result, the Truck Series machine starts feeling more manageable, more comfortable, and his confidence skyrockets. After Nashville, he told Front Stretch, "When I went from this back to ARCA, my confidence was just through the roof. It's unconventional, no question about it. But here's the crazy part. It might actually be working, and that's why his upcoming Truck Series start at Michigan suddenly becomes very interesting. Because if he shows up with that confidence, if the experience starts clicking, the results could look completely different from Daytona. But before anyone rushes to one side of this debate, there's something important we can't forget. Two things can be true at the same time. Cleetus McFarland can be a genuinely entertaining story, and he can also be evidence of a larger issue. Those ideas aren't mutually exclusive, and that's exactly what Tommy Baldwin has been trying to say. It's not about the man, it's about the message NASCAR just sent to every young driver watching. Right now, whether people like it or not, that message looks something like this. If your audience is big enough, the rules can bend. For a lot of hardcore fans, that's a difficult pill to swallow. So now I want to hear from you, and seriously, drop your opinion in the comments right now. Should NASCAR create a strict minimum experience requirement before any driver, whether they're a YouTuber, celebrity, influencer, or anyone else, can compete in the Truck Series? Or is the exposure, entertainment value, and ability to attract new fans worth the exception? I'm genuinely curious where you stand, and if you made it this far, you already know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join the NASCAR Nation news family. Because around here, we don't do fluff, we don't do clickbait, we do real NASCAR conversations every single week.